The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas sets the stage as BMF champion Max Holloway defends his title against the ever-dangerous former lightweight king, Charles Oliveira. Which can only mean one thing: guaranteed violence. UFC 326 goes down this Saturday night, live from midnight on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. Welcome to Fight Week and your official preview of UFC 326. I'm Adam Catterall. It is a pleasure as always to be in your company and the company of these two. Look at him, back in business, ready to rock and roll. Well, I always know where Nick Peet is. He's always in his office there, doing his thing, getting ready to obviously do this show. There he is, as you can see, smiling away. Never can tell where this fella is. He's got more air miles than Judith Chalmers, this fella right now. That's an old school joke. The one and only Mr. Michael Bisping. How are you?
I'm fresh off the flight from Houston. I will be going to Mexico City tomorrow. Then I'll be in Vegas. There's a London coming up. There's a Miami. I am all over the place, but never a complaint. Well, maybe if I'm sitting at a bar having a pint, maybe I'll complain a little bit, but I'm a very happy, blessed man, and I'm very happy because we have, speaking of blessed, Max Holloway back in action, taking on Charles du Bronx Oliveira. What a fight for the BMF.
The BMFA, I like it.
BMFA.
He's giving us a little bit of flavour for it. Nick, we need his Avios points, mate. That's what we need, pal. He's racking them up. We could get up front next time we get to travel, pal.
If only. If only one day the dream is there, one day we will turn left with Mike. One day.
Let's get into that VIP chat, shall we? Because UFC 326 is upon us. It is the BMFE. The title is on the line as Max Holloway defends against the former lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira. Listen, Charles Oliveira asked for this fight. Max Holloway never turns down anything. Ask and you will receive, Michael. We have got an absolute barnstormer in front of us come Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that watches the UFC, you know Max Holloway, blessed Holloway, the former long-time featherweight champion of the sport, and you know Charles Oliveira, the former lightweight champion. And of course, he's challenging for the BMF title. Charles has got all the bonuses, the most wins, the most submissions, the most bonuses. The man's crazy to watch. He's dangerous in all areas. He's got no fear. He walks people down. He throws bombs. Get on the ground with him at your peril. And then on the flip side, we know what Max Holloway brings to the table. And of course, when you look back to 2024, that incredible knockout over Justin Gaethje, I mean, start to finish, just one of the finest performances and the most dramatic endings that you'll see in any film or any fight movie. The final second face plants Justin Gaethje, and then of course, just to make it even better, this is a rematch. They did face once before. It all went down in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Of course, everyone's very familiar with that place. Tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, northern Canada, freezing cold, and the fight ended in very undramatic fashion, an esophageal injury for Charles Oliveira. So Max Holloway was the victor. They're going to throw down. This one's going to be proper. The BMF title's on the line. I mean, what more do you want?
Nick, I've missed him, mate. Hey, let me hyping that up. He were cranking it up there, get us
Come
up.
on!
That's what we're all about. As Mike touched upon there, Nick, 11 years ago was the first time that these two have met. How much have they developed since?
Oh, it's night and day, isn't it? You know, at the time, Max Holloway was relatively new to the featherweight division, very early in his career. Of course, that did springboard him right towards the Jose Aldo fight where he became champion, defined that kind of era of the featherweight division. Charles kind of struggled for a couple more fights down at featherweight, and then some bright spark said, you know what, Charles, try moving up to lightweight and see what happens. And goodness gracious, we know what happens then. A future Hall of Fame career lays out in front of us. Mike's right. These are not only two of the most exciting guys inside the octagon. One guy with the most finishes ever. Another guy with the highest strike differential in the entire UFC. You know what you're guaranteed once that cage door closes, but also outside of it as well. To the absolute greatest role models in the UFC today, do massive stuff with their communities, massive stuff for charity and everything else, poster boys of the organisation. And for these two to meet on Saturday night for the BMF belt as well, this for me is the biggest fight, the best fight in all of fight sports this year. The year starts Saturday night for me.
Oh, see? You two are competing for each other. Who's hyping this up even more? Listen, I think every single fan's all in on it. Mike, let's talk style, shall we? Because you've got volume, as Nick's just been talking about there, and submission chaos. We know that traditionally Max grows into fights. He gets better as the rounds do progress and he finishes incredibly strong. Whereas Charles traditionally likes to do his business in that first 5-10 minutes. Is that his best chance? Charles Oliveira to get the win here is his best chance early in the fight.
Well, anytime you have the fight style of Charles Oliveira, it's always dangerous. Of course, last year he tried to become the lightweight champion again by going up against Ilia Topuria, and we saw what happened. He walked forward, it was a jab, pull back, right hand, left hook from Ilia Topuria, and that put him to sleep. But then he came back against Mateusz Gamrot in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, last October. What a performance, right? Beat him anywhere the fight went. Of course, Mateusz takes him down because that's what he does, and he did that at his peril. But it wasn't long before his back was taken and he was in a world of trouble. And then in the second round, goes out, picks him up, slams him down, takes his back, chokes him out. This is Mateusz Gamrot that he did that to. Remember, Mateusz Gamrot has a win over Arman Tsarukyan. And you see online a lot of people going, this is crazy. Arman's not getting the title fight. Look at what Charles Oliveira did to somebody that had beaten Arman Tsarukyan. And of course, MMA math doesn't stack up. We know that. And a lot of the time in this fight, because all fights start on the feet, this will take place on the feet. And Max Holloway, as we know, one of the best boxers in the UFC, right? Did it whilst fighting Kelvin Cater in Abu Dhabi, looking at the commentators. That's how comfortable he is. He gets in the flow state. He's very technical. He'll use the footwork. He'll circle around. He's got bags and bags and bags of experience. He signed with the UFC when he was 19. He's now 34 years old, which is crazy to think that in a couple of years, Max Holloway might retire. 36, 37, 38, you start having those conversations. It's wild, man. What a journey he's been on. And he's still the baddest mother effer in all the sport.
Nick, that leads me on nicely to talk about this BMF belt. Because both of these guys have obviously been champions. They've held full undisputed crowns. But this BMF thing, since it's come in 2019, really has caught the imagination of the fans.
It's great because it, moves around weight divisions, isn't defined by one weight class. It literally just gets thrown up when you get two fighters and a certain opportunity. Both obviously ticking the boxes as being BMFs in terms of will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that's exactly what we get on Saturday night. Max Holloway, incidentally, the only person ever to successfully defend the BMF belt. Can he do it for a second time here against Charles? I think what you touched on earlier on is bang on right. Charles Oliveira is so dangerous early on while Max is still getting into his rhythm. We've seen it against Ilia Topuria. Max got global fame when he pointed in the middle of the canvas against Justin Gaethje in the dying seconds of their 5-round fight and got an incredible viral moment knockout. Well, when he fought Ilia Topuria, it was Ilia Topuria pointing to the centre of the canvas and Max didn't bite on it. Max came away, and already, we're a week out from the fight, but already you see Charles Oliveira doing interviews, speaking to press, saying, I'm going to point to the middle of the canvas early on. I'm going to ask Max Holloway to meet me in the centre of the octagon and let chaos reign. It'll be interesting to see if Max bites on it this time around, or is he going to try and push it later on the fight, as we suggest he gets stronger as it gets later. Either way, at some point, the proverbial is going to hit the fan, boys, and this is going to explode.
But that's actually a really smart strategy from Charles Oliveira to try and goad Max Holloway to trade early, because when you plant your feet on the canvas and you're swinging and you're trying to generate maximum power, what else is also there? An opportunity for a takedown. Okay, and that's probably what Charles wants. Point at the floor. Come on, let's throw down, buddy. Come on, let's have a war. And then shoot a double leg, shoot a single, get a body lock. Just get a hold of him any way he can, because we know how opportunistic he is with the submissions. Quick as a flash, he throws one up. It doesn't matter what it is or what position you are in. Charles Oliveira is extremely dangerous. What a fight.
It's an unbelievable main event. Two of the very, very best who are going to guarantee some serious entertainment for us. And the supporting cast is pretty decent as well, because in the core main event, we head to the middleweight division. Kyle Verhallo taking on RDR. Renier de Ridder. Both men, Mike, similar positions. They suffered their first UFC defeat in their last fight. They're coming in for the first time ever off the back of defeat in the UFC. It's going to be interesting to see how they approach this one.
Yeah, Kyle Verhallo, I think he was on a 15-fight win streak overall and an 8-fight win streak in the UFC. Goes up against Nassourdine Imavov last year in the main event in Paris. And he lost fair and square. But listen, that's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. So I'm very excited to see Caio Borralho return. And Renier de Ridder kind of had the same thing. He came and signed with the UFC. He was the new kid on the block. He was running through everyone. He was taking fights every few weeks. And what happened? He ran into Brendan Allen, and my word, it did not go his way in any way, shape or form. Now, I don't want to take away from Brendan Allen's performance, but you have to respect this game. Look at Merab Dvalishvili. Was he fighting too frequently? Look at Alex Pereira when he lost to Magomed Ankalaev. A lot of people had the same kind of opinions there because Renier de Ridder signs with the UFC against Gerald Meerschaert in November 2024. And overall, in under a year, in 7 months, he's had 4 fights in the UFC. Those kind of training camps take their toll. Remember, this is a man in Renier de Ridder that is a great submission artist. He beat Bo Nickel with that beautiful knee to the stomach, beat one of the greatest fighters in middleweight history in Robert the Reaper Whittaker. So this is what this man's capable of. So I'm very, very excited for this matchup. Can Caio Borralho keep the fight on the feet? Because that is what Renier de Ridder is going to be looking for. A takedown. Simple as that.
And Nick, despite what all Mike said there is absolutely bang on and true, it feels like this is a bit of a fight for relevance, given the way that the landscape of the division is currently situated. We've got Khamzat Chimaev, who's obviously the champion. Sean Strickland recently put in a sensational performance. Dricus du Plessis still knocking about. Imavov, who Mike's just mentioned there, got a great win over Caio. If you lose here, all of a sudden you're starting to slip down them rankings.
And how crazy is that? That just shows you how competitive this middleweight division is. Borralho features in, let's face it, a final eliminator. That's what it was kind of billed as in Paris. Him versus Imavov, final eliminator. Whoever wins goes in for the next title shot. That was the big talk about it. Falls short that night, just wasn't his night. But as Mike says, first defeat in 15 fights. You go away, you look to bounce back straight away. But he's still ranked number 7. He's been matched with de Ridder, who's settled now at 8. But again, look at de Ridder. Comes into the UFC, 3 quick finishes. Wow, amazing. Knocks Bo Nickel, the American hope, right off his rails. Then jumps in with Robert Whittaker, the former champion. Close split decision, but absolutely deserved that victory. Everyone was talking about de Ridder. Is de Ridder the guy? Because he can handle Khamzat Chimaev. He can grapple with him. He's certainly got a submission game. That would be a threat to Khamzat if he wanted to take it to the ground so much. And then he runs into, of all people, Brendan Allen. Now, don't get me wrong, Brendan Allen's a very talented guy, but nobody kind of saw that coming. And then when it happens, you're like, wait, take a step back. Also last year, Caio Borralho, let's do some MMA grappling maths here. Caio Borralho beat Brendan Allen over a karate combat and a grappling event. Does that make any difference? Does that play into any hands here? Is that about the levels? Or are both these guys incredibly dangerous because they both desperately need to bounce back from their first UFC defeats and keep themselves on that championship trail?
Well, Caio is ranked number 7. Renier de Ridder is ranked number 8. And it doesn't matter how impressively either of these guys win, because the only people that are going to fight for a belt anytime soon is Sean Strickland or Nassourdine Imavov. Remember last week, Strickland took out Fluffy, who was on an 8-fight winning streak, who seemed like he had the antidote to defeat the wrestling of Khamzat Chimaev. And we don't even know what Khamzat Chimaev is doing right now. I spoke to him last week. The man's walking around at 240 pounds, right? So he's gonna shed some weight before he even thinks about defending that belt. But so, right now, what is this? It is a fight for relevancy. It's another way to get back in the winning column, to show the world and the fans that, hey, listen, don't forget about me. I'm still coming for that belt. One bad night at the office, don't write me off yet. And to prove to the UFC, hey, I am still a worthy and viable contender. And on paper, a tremendous matchup.
Indeed it is. And that's your co-main event in the books. Now then, Rob Font's a vet, and we've got the new blood in Raul Rosas Jr. coming through. We've got Rob Font coming off the back of a defeat, Mike. Raul Rosas Jr. seems to have turned it around since his first defeat. Big test for the young boy from Mexico.
It is a big test for the young man from Mexico, but stylistically, I do think this is a fight that might kind of favour him. And then, of course, we were talking off air about this. Raul Rosas Jr. is 21 years old. The man is in his absolute prime. He's surrounded by UFC greatness. He's training down at the PI in Mexico. He's getting all the sports science that he needs along the way to help him become the best athlete ever. And then stylistically, this guy can wrestle. Yes, he had one loss to Christian Rodriguez. The cardio kind of let him down a little bit there, but that's how you learn. And he was only a kid. He was 17 years old when he signed with the UFC. He's still only a kid at 21 years old. In California, where I am now, He's only just qualified to be able to go for a beer. You know what I'm saying? And this guy is flying in the UFC. He's 11-1, but he is taking on a veteran in Rob Font, a man that's been there, done it, got the T-shirt. He's been a part of the UFC roster for 12 years, but he is losing some fights lately, and he is 38 years old. Now, what's Rob Font going to do? The same thing that he always does. He's going to look to pump the jab, use the footwork, use the underhook, stop the takedown. He's got the better boxing, but can he stop the takedowns? Can he keep the fight on the feet? If he can do that, I favour Rob Font in this fight, but if he can't, Raul Rosas Jr. is going to have an absolute field day with him.
Nick, from a Rosas Jr. point of view, we haven't seen him for a year, and this fight was originally scheduled, wasn't it, for September?
Yeah, I think he had a hand injury in September, so he had to pull out. He was replaced by David Martinez, and then Rob Font took that fight, I think it was like 10, 12 days notice, and actually lost that fight to David Martinez as well. So he might be feeling a little bit bitter towards Rosas Jr. You train for a 21-year-old kid who's full of energy, and suddenly it gets changed up when you're 38 years of age, when you've been around the block like Rob Font has. That kind of stuff sticks with you. So I think he'll carry that into the octagon this weekend as well. I think that Rob Font... Also, he was supposed to fight Dominic Cruz at one point last year, and Cruz pulled out and retired, so we had a replacement opponent for that one as well, Matsumoto. So I kind of feel for Rob Font. I'm just happy the fact that he's been able to see a whole training camp through, and hopefully him and Rosas Jr. get to throw down this weekend. Listen, Font's been around forever. Mike's right, 38 years of age. But he's ranked number 13 in the world. So he's got something to defend. You know, he has got a ranking to defend. As for the 21-year-old Rosas Jr., listen, when he lost against Christian Rodriguez, we were on this show going, that's what he needed. He needed bring him back down to earth. He needed to go, right, okay, I'm not the finished product. He was talking about being a two-weight champion, retiring at the age of 25, all this stuff. Forget it. Get back in the gym, get to work. And he has. Since then, 4-fight win streak, looks phenomenal, probably goes into this fight at the weekend as the favourite. And imagine that. You debut at 17, you get a ranking at 21. Kid's a superstar.
And also, I just want to mention on Rob Font, because it sounds like I was like hanging him out to dry or putting him out to pasture a little bit soon. He is very experienced. He has been around for a long time. But that win that you mentioned of Jean Matsumoto, Matsumoto is an incredibly talented mixed martial artist. He's part of the new generation that's been training MMA his entire life. And he's very young and in his prime. And he was able to pass that test. Same thing with Kyler Phillips. And when you look at all the losses that Rob Font has had, and yeah, sure, never a good thing to have losses, but we're talking Corey Sandhagen, Davison Figueiredo, Jose Aldo, Marlon Chito Vera, right? Is Raul Rosas Jr. in the same kind of level of those guys? I don't think he is. Certainly not yet. We'll find out this weekend. It's going to be a great fight. Big opportunity for Raul Rosas Jr. to get a big win over a very experienced veteran.
And speaking of experience, you can't get more experience than what we're about to talk about right now. Drew Dober, Michael Johnson, boosted to the main card. I think this is Drew Dober's 26th UFC fight, 32nd for Michael Johnson. They've been around here for a long time, and they always guarantee fun, Mike.
Well, what are they going to do, right? Because now the man's going to shoot a double leg takedown. You know that, yeah, they can wrestle. I've seen Michael Johnson wrestle. Apparently, Drew Dober's a really good grappler. We just don't see it because he likes to go out there and swing for the fences because he knocks people out. And look at the jaw on the guy. It's like Desperate Dan on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Good luck knocking him out. But he has been knocked out. And Michael Johnson's looking at that with the hand speed that he's got. Remember the performance when Justin Gagey signed with the UFC? Almost spoiled Justin Gagey. Almost spoiled the coming out party. And now Michael Johnson pushing 50 or whatever he is, right? The man's kind of found his form again, right? And he's sparking people himself. Drew Dober, Michael Johnson, stand in the middle of the octagon, throw down, no pointing on the floor because they do that anyway. They don't need to point on the floor because that is their mentality. It will be a phenomenal fight.
Drew Dober just recently stopped his losing streak. Nick obviously beat Karl Popolek last time out, got himself a victory. Michael Johnson's in some type of Indian summer, pal. He's won his last 3, hasn't he?
Honestly, I'd love to know what his diet is, what his training regimen is, because he's pushing 40 and seemingly getting better. He's been around the UFC forever, 16 years or whatever it is since he was in Tough. It's kind of insane. He spent more than 5 hours actually throwing punches and kicks inside the octagon, which is just absolutely frightening. But he's been consistently a threat throughout that entire period. He has never quite got to title contender status, but he's always been in the conversation. He's always been more than capable of being the upsetter. And seeing him now at 39 on a 3-fight win streak, it's beautiful, man. He's doing one for us older guys. I really love it. And listen, I think him and Drew Dober, it's a good matchup. You know, it's a perfect matchup. One's 37, one's 39. One's had 26, 27 fights, 30-odd fights for this guy. Two absolute veterans. I think they both know now. They probably looked in the mirror and gone, title opportunity ain't ever going to come my way. But you know what I'm going to keep doing? I'm going to keep throwing down because I'm an athlete. I feel good in myself. I feel like I can still compete. I feel like I can still win. They're both winning, and I want to keep putting on a show for the fans, and that's what you're guaranteed in this fight. This is where your performance bonus is going.
Oh,
100%.
he's gone. He's gone early. He's gone early. I love it. The fight that kicks off this main card is, I know that Nick was just talking there about perfect matchups. This is the perfect replacement matchup, because originally it was Mr. Secret Juice himself. It was Mr. Paulo Costa taking on Bruno Ferreira, and we were all dead excited about that. But then when that fight falls off, you think to yourself, who are you going to get in to guarantee some violence, Mr. Bisping? You bring in RoboCop. That's what you do, don't you?
Another gigantic, jacked jiu-jitsu fella from Brazil, okay? Maybe not quite as handsome as Paulo Costa, do you know what I'm saying? But the man's gigantic. Look at the physique on him. Multiple-time world jiu-jitsu champion. The grappling is off the charts, but lately he's just been knocking everyone out, like Jack Hermanson, like Brad Tavares, like Dennis Tululin, right? We can go on all day. He's got a lot of experience, but we've got to remember, this is a rematch. Bruno Ferreira made his UFC debut against Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez, and what happened? He knocked him out cold. It was a left hook, landed right on the button, put him to sleep, and now years later, with a bit more experience on both sides, these guys throw down. It's going to be a sensational matchup.
And it seems like perfect timing this as well, Nick, because RoboCop obviously ran into Cannonier, fell short there, but he's got himself back on the horse a little bit, and Ferreira, he's on a nice little win streak, 3 on the spin.
Yeah, listen, as you say, he's bounced back. He had that knockout of Hermanson, RoboCop. Then he had a really good points win over Roman Kopylov, who I rate really highly in the striking department. And that's what we've seen consistently from Rodriguez, even though Mike touched on it then. This guy was an 8-time national Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion. And I've never seen him do jiu-jitsu in his life in the UFC. He just gets in there and wants to knock people out. It's phenomenal. Absolutely love it. Listen, he has been knocked out before, and he has been knocked out by Bruno Ferreira, but that was a long time ago. You can put that down to octagon jitters, everything else. Rodriguez is in a different place right now. Ferreira's probably feeling the pressure a little bit. He's not got a ranking. RoboCop has got a ranking, so big opportunity there. He's coming off a great win, by the way, Ferreira, over Marvin Vettori in December. You know, Marvin Vettori's no joke, very well-rounded. To beat Marvin Vettori on points says a lot. He did miss weight for that fight, though. He weighed in at 189, which I'm not a big fan of. But Brazil on Brazil violence. Come on, sign me up.
Yeah. That's your main card for UFC 326. Listen, the prelims are stacked as well, but we won't keep you. We know that you've got places to go. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick our highlights. Mike, I'll come to you first. What one fight off the prelims are you telling everybody to make sure that they're in the seats for, to make sure that they don't miss?
How long have you got? Because Zhao Long, fighting out of China, will be taking on the former champion, Cody Garbrandt, okay? Cody, I love this guy, okay? But it's a long time ago. It's 10 years since 2016 when he had one of the best performances that you're ever likely to see against one of the greatest bantamweights in Dominic Cruz. Remember, he was just like going ole and like being a bullfighter and just kind of break dancing and body popping in the middle and then picking him apart, defending the takedowns. Since then, it hasn't been good. 2 knockouts to TJ Dillashaw, lost to Rob Font, Kai Kara France got finished. He got finished against Davison Figueiredo and lost to Ronnie Barcelos last time out. Now, Ronnie Barcelos flies under the radar, doesn't get the respect that he deserves. So I don't think necessarily Cody Garbrandt is ready for retirement. But if he loses this one, maybe there needs to be a conversation. Zhao Long fighting out of China, very, very explosive striker, quite a bit of experience as well. Keep an eye on that one on the prelims. I'm biased. I like Cody. You know what I'm saying? He's just a nice guy. And given the career and the body of work that he's had, I wish him nothing but the best. But of course, may the best man win.
No, absolutely. And if you are a Cody Garbrandt fan and believe in patterns, Cody recently has been win 2, lose 2. Win 2, lose to. And the good news for you is that he lost his last two. So therefore it might just turn coming into 326.
Hey, there's hope for Cody. He lost his last two.
There you go. But if that pattern continues. Nick, what are you going for on the prelims, mate?
I'm going to tip another Asian who's taking on an American called Cody as well, but this time in the flyweight division. Cody Durden's going to be on one side of the octagon. We've seen him around the flyweight division for an awful long time. 35 years of age, from Atlanta, Georgia, coached by Diego Lima. He's kind of got a 50-50 record, you know. Sometimes he'll put a big win in, sometimes he'll struggle a little bit, but it's more about the opposite corner for me, kind of the same with Mike. This guy in the opposite corner from Mongolia, and I'm going to nail this, Tumen Dembarel.
What's his first name?
I can't give you his first... Mike, can you give me his first name, please?
I believe it's pronounced Niam Jargel. Tumen
Oh,
Dembarel.
Niam Jargel, Tumen Dembarel.
That's why he's on the telly, son. That's why he's calling the fights.
Brilliant. Mongolian, 27 years of age, got a 9-1 record with 8 finishes in there as well. Road to UFC winner out in Asia. Absolutely, this guy has got so much potential, but more than anything else, you know me, boys, I love a backstory. This guy comes from generations upon generations of nomadic herders. Before he come into the UFC, he was in the family business, going around the mountains of Mongolia with his goats and his sheep and his cattle and everything else, living in huts, living on the land. This man's tough, baby. Stepping inside the octagon, this guy's got no fear with the life he grew up with yet. So look, keep an eye out.
And guaranteed to have some DNA from Genghis Khan in him.
What? 100%. 100%.
Listen, the warrior.
Listen,
100%.
Mike, since Nick had an absolute blinder telling us about Shavkat about 25 years ago, he keeps going up to these random mountains now to find these fighters.
Anyone that comes from a mountain village that had a very simple life in the hills with goats and, I don't know, making their own butter, okay, I like that guy. Anyone that wears a furry hat, okay, you know what I mean? Anyone that's got one of those hats on, Nick's all about it.
There you go. That's how UFC 326 is shaping up. Make sure you come and join us on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus this Saturday night. Those prelims get going from midnight with the main card from 2. And the cherry on top of the cake, of course, is the BMF title fight between Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. Guaranteed violence. Don't miss it. We'll see you at the fights.